go. Some folks already calling Game 4 the Chris Middleton game of the series, and they wouldn't be wrong. Guy went off for 40 in this one, including 10 straight points over the final 2 minutes. His pal Giannis, 26 points, and what may have been the greatest block of all time. Can I just say that? Check it out. Check it out on DeAndre Ayton's game-tying dunk attempt with just over a minute left. It was a thing of beauty. Despite a monster night from Devin Booker, the Milwaukee Bucks still get the win. And these NBA Finals, my friends, are all knotted up at 2 games apiece. Afterwards, Chris Middleton on the action-packed finish to the game.
It seemed like the game was over, there for a minute, but nobody caved. We stayed with it. We grinded out a couple of possessions, and we found a way to win a ball game. That's something that we struggle with sometimes during the season, but we said, that's what it's all about, learning how to win different type of ball games, different styles. And then that's what that moment was about, finding a way to win a game where it seemed like we weren't going to win and give us a chance to still, have a life. Going to Phoenix with a little bit of confidence, with a little bit of momentum.
And Nick, that's exactly what we talked about so often during this regular season and into the postseason. The Bucks have to find a way to finish games. Chris Middleton said they finally figured it out. What would you point to as the biggest reason the Bucks won Game 4?
Yeah. Well, listen, if you look at the box score, there's no reason whatsoever the Bucks should have won this game, except for one line of it. Yep. Phoenix turned the ball over 17 times. Including 2 back-breaking turnovers by Chris Paul in the waning moments.
Chris Paul. And
Milwaukee had the fewest turnovers they've had in a game in 6 years. They turned the ball over 5 times in a high-pressure, high-leverage, biggest game of the year. Hell, for the Bucks, biggest game the franchise has had in 47 years. Turned the ball over essentially once a quarter. But it was more than just that. It was also that Milwaukee stayed true to who they were, particularly on the defensive side of the ball throughout. And in the fourth quarter, Phoenix, it wasn't just Chris Paul, but it was a lot of Chris Paul, forgot how to play. Phoenix was 5 for 17 in the 7 for 19 in the fourth quarter, and it was actually worse than that because 2 of those shots, 2 of those makes were in garbage time at the end when Milwaukee was just giving them layups. Chris Paul was non-existent in the first half and bad in the second half. And Devin Booker, after committing some silly fouls, got himself out of the unbelievable rhythm that he was in and was not able to recapture it. Meanwhile, Middleton was phenomenal at the end of this game, and Giannis, despite not scoring 30, found a way to do a little bit of everything, including what is, unlike Giannis's block in Game 1, which, while it was great, doesn't belong in the conversation with LeBron's block. That block last night absolutely belongs in the conversation with LeBron's block. Giannis made plays with his passing and his defense in that fourth quarter, and right now, Milwaukee has to feel great about where they are. I feel great. Giannis feels great. I worry Brandon Marshall doesn't feel as great, but I'm curious how Brandon is feeling this morning.
I don't feel great. No, yeah. I don't feel great. Do you not hear my voice? Typically, when I get less than 6 hours of sleep, I lose my voice. It's just something that happens with me aging. And I don't know how CP3 got any sleep. If I didn't sleep any at all last night, how the heck did CP3 get any? Look, this is 2 aberration games back-to-back. You go back to Game 3, you had the big 3, the big trio for the Bucks, have their most efficient and their best game together since they've been together all year. And in this game, we talk about an aberration game. All of those turnovers, the thing that I talked about the most with this team the second half of the year is how they protect the ball, how efficient they are. CP3, he averages what, like a turnover a game? He had 5 in the first half. Absolutely terrible. So when you ask what was the biggest reason the Bucks won, there's three things that I really want to highlight. One, CP3, he had no impact on the offensive side. Two, the turnovers. And three, oh man, wow, three. Man, you got to look at Monty Williams. Monty Williams didn't make the right adjustments. It looks like what Bud did. Bud stopped focusing on Booker and actually put Drew on CP3. And that's what changed the game, was that adjustment right there. So you know what? CP3, he's only going to give you 19 points if we let him off the hook. But if we make it a little stressful for him, if we confuse him just a little bit, it's going to throw off their entire rhythm. So that's what they did, and that's why this game went the way it did, and I ain't get any sleep.
Okay. All right, buddy.
Yeah.
You know I'm here for you, right? If you're down, I'm there to pick you up. I think you should actually be oddly optimistic after watching that game. If we can show up the stat, like, yes, the
false hope.
You know what's coming, Nick. I actually believe this. Yeah. I believe in second chance. I believe in flushing bad performances down the toilet. So first of all, this is a reason to be optimistic. The Suns are the first team in NBA history to lose a finals game despite shooting better than 50% and holding their opponents below 42%. So I think a lot of people are like, wow, what a terrible performance by the Suns. I don't know, I'm a glass half full guy. I think it's actually good. And here's the thing about the Chris Paul turnover. And look, I think Chris Paul has put a lot of pressure on himself. We saw it going back to his post-game interview when he's talking about being up 3-1. He's like, I don't want to talk about that. I think what we saw Monty Williams do with Devin Booker in Game 3, we'll see a similar thing happen with Chris Paul, where Devin Booker had an all-time horrible performance for him. Monty Williams sat him in the fourth quarter, and Devin Booker came out this game and played phenomenally. Brandon, I think Monty Williams will do the same type of coaching excellence and leadership with Chris Paul. And Chris Paul has had some bad playoff history, whether it's injury or it's turning the ball over to the Thunder, two other horrible turnovers. I think Monty Williams is the leader that the Suns need. And after this game, if you watch the post-game, if you watch his locker room, he's like, guys, we can win this. It's just turnovers and offensive rebounds. I think you should be oddly optimistic even though the series is tied. So there you go. That's me helping you out, bud.
Listen, the only reason why I'm disappointed is because my take of the Suns in 5 is not going to stand there. You know, it was chopped down.
Okay.
They'll win in 6 now. So that's the only reason why I'm disappointed. They're still a better team. CP3, are you kidding me? You think CP3 looking better team? Yeah, you thought.